Liberalism is under threat in America, Europe, and Britain. It's a political philosophy that has inspired revolutions, the founding of America, and free markets. To understand why it's worth defending, you first have to know where it came from. Liberalism is based on the principle that people have rights to life, liberty, and property. They should be equal before the law and have a say in how they are governed. For most of history, monarchs and emperors believed their right to rule came directly from God, rather than anyone on earth. But what if kings did not have a God-given right to rule? Enter John Locke.
No one can be subjected to the political power of another without his own consent.
In 1689, he argued that people are born with rights and that governments exist to protect those rights in a social contract. These ideas were so dangerous at the time that he put them forward anonymously. These ideas spread and evolved over the following decades, influencing political and intellectual movements. It's what inspired America's founders to introduce the written Constitution in 1787, guaranteeing equal rights for all. Except it wasn't all. Women, the poor, black people, and other minorities were in practice still excluded from the full rights of citizenship. Soon after, Mary Wollstonecraft had the radical idea that women have the same natural intellectual capacity as men, which she argued would become more apparent if they were allowed the same education.
I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves.
Decades later, Frederick Douglass argued that under any reasonable interpretation of liberalism, slavery must be abolished.
The white man's happiness cannot be purchased by the black man's misery.
This liberal push towards expanding suffrage and free markets strengthened in the 19th century. John Stuart Mill supported universal suffrage but feared that democracy would lead to a tyranny of the majority, and proposed the rather illiberal solution of giving more votes to better educated citizens. This was countered at the start of the 20th century, which saw a rise in social liberalism, arguing that governments should offer better education, healthcare, and worker protections. In the aftermath of two world wars, liberal bodies like the UN and EU were created, and the civil rights movement advanced liberal principles. One of the greatest threats to liberalism in Western democracies comes from within. Rising support for Donald Trump, Marine Le Pen, and Nigel Farage all demonstrate the appeal of nativist populism. With universities, science, and the media under intensifying attack, liberalism has an imposing task ahead to restore confidence in its ability to solve modern problems. We've just summarized 350 years of liberal history in 3 minutes, so for a much deeper look into the history of liberalism, check out our primer.